Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lavette Cheesy and today we are talking about autism. But first I want to take a few minutes and say thank you and welcome to my old subscribers and to my new subscribers. So I'm talking about autism today because I have noticed that whenever I get asked about what I do, when I tell people that I work with children or individuals with autism, a lot of people don't know what autism is. So I get a lot of questions about what exactly is autism? What kind of therapy do you do with these individuals? What are the signs of autism? What are the behaviors that people with autism display? Just different random questions. So I wanted to take a few minutes today to quickly explain what autism is. It's going to be really hard to try to do this in 10 minutes or less, but I'll try to cover as much as I can. So to start off, the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control, has estimated that 1 in 68 children has been identified with autism spectrum disorder, and this is from the most recent data. So you can see that it's like that's a lot of children. Another thing you should know is autism can affect anyone. It affects all racial group, it affects all ethnic group, all social economy group. It doesn't matter if you're from Africa or from Europe or from Asia, or if you're rich or poor or middle class. Autism can affect anyone. Research hasn't really shown that it affects one particular race than it does the other, but it affects a particular gender more than it does the other. So it affects more boys than girls. Also from the CDC research, it has also shown that 1 in about 42 boys will be affected by autism, while it is 1 in 189 girls. So boys are more likely to be affected than girls. If you have identical twins, if one of the twin is affected by autism, the other twin has a much higher risk of also being affected by autism. And if you're a couple that has a child that's affected by ASD, also known as autism, you have a much higher risk of having another child or the second child that is also affected with autism. And that's why you get to see families that have 2 or 3 kids that are autistic. So the big question is, what exactly is autism? Autism is a spectrum of neuropsychiatric disorder. So basically it is a developmental disorder that causes issue with communication, social interaction, verbal and motor skills. Autism is also known as ASD, and it's characterized into 3 aspects: impaired communication, impaired social interaction, and restricted or repetitive behavior. So the most important thing to know is that autism is a spectrum disorder, meaning that no 2 individuals with autism has the same symptoms. It varies from person to person. Typically it's between the age of 2 to 3 years of age that you can find out if a kid is autistic. However, individuals often show signs of having autism by missing important milestones as early as the age of 12 to 18 months. So you can typically tell at about that age if a child has signs of autism. Autism has no cure, but there are different ways to manage autism, and there are different therapy to provide for an individual with autism. So it's very important to look out for these early signs, because that's the key. When you're able to find out early that a child has signs of autism, that's the key for early intervention. So what are some of the signs to look out for you to be able to identify if a child has autism? So some of the signs will be not engaging in big smiles or warm, joyful expression by the age of 6 months or thereafter. Another sign will be lack of eye contact. When you look at a child with autism, they wouldn't make eye contact with you, so they're not going, there will be no they wouldn't meet your eyes, and when you're trying to communicate with them, they try to focus their attention in other things such as toys or objects around, but they're not going to give you that face of that eye-to-eye contact. Another sign to look out for is no back and forth sharing of sounds, smile, or other facial expression at the age of 9 months. So what that typically means, a typical developing child will start making sound or mimicking sounds or facial expression at that age. If you smile at a child, the child should be able to smile or at least try to smile back at you. But a child with autism typically don't have that imitation aspect. No babbling at 12 months. Often the child should be able to babble back and forth at 12 months. That's what we call vocal play. So when mom or dad echoes a sound, the child should be able to echo back. No words by 16 months. Typically children at that age, at that developmental age, should be able to point things to their parents or try to show their parent things or try to make some make a few words. They should at least be meaningful to words at the age of 24 months, like pick me up or help me. Those little easy simple words. If you notice any loss of speech, loss of social skills, or loss of babbling, that should be a major concern for you to take your child in for a checkup. So what are the causes of autism? There is no one cause of autism. It is still very unclear what causes autism. The cause of autism is still unclear. So far they haven't been able to find out what exactly causes autism, but there are some variables that have been found to be some of the causes of autism. So for example, combination of genes and environmental variables is a high risk for causing autism. Genetic factors, environmental factors, and when I say environmental factors, that includes what happened before the child was born, while the child was still in the mother's stomach. They're being affected with what's happening in the mother's stomach as they are growing and developing, but we don't know specifically what it is. So some people believe that vaccines are the causes of autism, but there have been different research that have been done to see if vaccine causes autism, and all the research have shown that vaccine does not cause autism. So I'm not even trying to go into that, but all I can say is so far there is no link between vaccines and autism. Also, children who are born to older parents are at a higher risk of having autism. Children who has siblings with ADS are also at higher risk of having autism, like I stated previously. Also, a small percentage of children who are born prematurely or are born with a low birth weight are also at a higher risk of having autism. So yeah, these are some of the things you would typically expect from kids with autism. Failure to develop peer relationships. So a lot of autistic kids don't like to associate with other children. They prefer to play alone than to play with other kids. So for example, if a child is watching something on television and it's very funny, they would not call the parents or siblings to come share that enjoyment with them. They don't show any they lack that ability. They do not like to share the toys, to share their interests. They don't show interest to they don't show interest for other people. Lack of social or emotional reciprocity. So if you're sad or you're angry, a child with autism do not have lacks that ability to ask you what's going on, or even if they know what's going on, they lack that ability to show any kind of empathy or sympathy towards you. And like I said again, it's different. The spectrum are different. Some kids are high functioning while the others are low functioning. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you've been able to learn something from this video, and now you understand a little better what autism is. If you haven't subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe, share this video, leave your comment. If you have questions, if you have suggestions for about on the topic that you'd want me to cover next or talk about next, I would be glad and happy to do that. But yeah, let's share this video. Let's get the awareness out there for autism, because there's still a lot of places and a lot of countries that still discriminate people with autism and still don't fully understand what it means to be an individual with autism. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, I will see you in my next video. I hope you have a beautiful week. Bye bye.